everybody. So I will be focusing today on the current cholera outbreak in Yemen for this case study. So just a brief overview of the case study outline that we'll be discussing. So we'll talk about the history of the Yemen Civil War in 2014. We will answer what is cholera disease. Then we will look at the factors that led Yemen into a health crisis. Then we will take a look at Yemen in 2017, what the statistics look like now. And then we will answer these two very important questions. Is there hope? And how is the international community responding? In September 2014, Yemen broke out in a civil war due to the government in power being overthrown by a rebel group. In March 2015, Saudi-led military intervention. This included airstrikes, which affected civilian infrastructures, which included hospitals, farms, schools, and water infrastructure. Some argue that the 2 years of conflict have created conditions conducive to a cholera outbreak. This is true, but it only tells us part of the story. Another part is that the government no longer pays public employees working in rebel-controlled areas, which is about 30,000 health workers, and they have not received a salary for almost a year. Sanitation workers, water engineers in Sana'a, the capital of Yemen, have been on strike for months, leaving uncollected rubbish on the streets and drains clogged. So what is cholera? Cholera is a bacterial disease spread by highly contaminated water or food sources. It is most likely to be found and spread in places with inadequate water treatment, poor sanitation, and inadequate hygiene. Symptoms include vomiting, diarrhea, cramping, rapid loss of fluids, which results in dehydration, which results in shock. If cholera is not treated quickly, people can die within hours. Cholera first spread from the Ganges Delta in 1817. The outbreak killed tens of millions of people across the world over the next 150 years. However, due to modern improvements in water sanitation, water infrastructure, access to medicine and healthcare has lowered the amount of cases reported. Cholera is treated and prevented by maintaining fluids, antibiotics, and proper hygiene. The lack of access to clean water and established healthcare resources make it that much more difficult to prevent cholera disease from spreading in Yemen. So looking at statistics, something that was very shocking, according to UNICEF and the World Health Organization, there is 13.1 million people without access to safe water and sanitation, which just goes to show the collapse of sanitation and clean water systems due to the country's ongoing conflict. And when we look at Yemen specifically, we see that food production has collapsed. About 4.5 million children, pregnant, and lactating women are malnourished, and only 45% of health facilities are functioning and have the adequate supplies and staff. And again, 45% of the population requires assistance to access safe water to drink and for sanitation. So here we see a map that illustrates visually where the majority of the conflict in Yemen is going on right now. Here we see where the concentration of cholera outbreak is happening in Yemen. So now that we see the both maps side by side, it is no surprise that rebel-controlled areas are disproportionately affected by the cholera outbreak. Thus, a person living in an area under rebel control is 70% more likely to contract cholera, and if they do, 50% more likely to die. Over the past 4 months, Yemen has been hit with the strongest cholera outbreak, which the UN states is the worst in the world. Currently, there is about 7,000 new cases being reported daily. According to the World Health Organization, since August 2017, Yemen has reached a reportedly 500,000 cholera cases. Yemen is currently experiencing such a rapid spread of cholera due to, again, the deteriorating hygiene, sanitation conditions, and the overall disruption of water supply across the country. Millions of people are being cut off from clean water, and waste collection has ceased in major cities. A collapsing health system is struggling to cope, with more than half of all health facilities closed due to damage, destruction, and lack of funds. Shortages in medicines and supplies are all persistent with a widespread, and over 30,000 critical health workers have not been paid salary in over a. So my question to you earlier was, is there hope? According to the World Health Organization, there is about 95.6 cases are being reported to the government, which means that NGOs are partnering and working with the Yemen authorities to detect and trace the spread of the disease and reach people with medical treatment, safe water, and safe sanitation and hygiene practices. The key to remember in all of this is that things like the cholera outbreak, the hunger crisis, and the rise of deaths from preventable diseases are all indirect results of conflict. This can be easily prevented and treated. New organizations such as the International Rescue Committee are implementing health sanitation classes to educate the public on proper sanitation. The World Health Organization and partners are organizing and working around the clock to set up treatment centers, to improve health facilities, and deliver medical supplies in support of the national health response effort. To save lives in Yemen today, we must support the health system, especially the health workers, and we urge the authorities and all of those governments in the region to find a political solution to this conflict that has already caused so much suffering. The people of Yemen cannot bear this much longer. They need peace to rebuild their lives and their country.